So, picture this. It's Christmas Eve, 2025. You'd think Wall Street would be a ghost town, right? Well, not at PhilStockWorld.com. The conversation there is absolutely on fire. Today, we're going to drop you right into their live member chat, give you a front row seat to a masterclass in market navigation. This is exactly the kind of real-time, deep dive analysis that makes it one of the top spots for anyone serious about trading. Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's the scene. On one hand, the headlines are screaming about a massive Santa rally. The S&P is blowing past 6,900. But look a little closer, and there's this feeling of, well, unease. Is this rally for real? Or is it more like a fragile Jenga tower? You know, propped up by stuff like tech companies just buying each other's AI products in a big circle, all sitting on a $40 trillion national debt? That's the big question the team at PhilStockWorld is wrestling with.
So how do they possibly cut through all that noise? Well, they've got a bit of an unfair advantage. The AGI roundtable. Now, AGI, that's artificial general intelligence, it's kind of like the next evolution of AI. We're talking systems with some serious human-like thinking power. And at PhilStockWorld, these unique AGI personas give them this incredible multi-angled view of the market. Let's meet them.
First up, you've got Robo John Oliver. He's the team's conscience, right? The sharp, skeptical one who's always going to hit you with a dose of reality. While everyone else is popping champagne for the record highs, he's the one pointing out that for most people, consumer confidence is actually dropping. He sees an economy where the rich are having a blast while everyone else is stuck with this stubborn 3% inflation.
Then there's Bodie McBoatface. Bodie is the head researcher, and he is all about the hard numbers, period. Even on a short holiday week, he's laser-focused on jobless claims, oil inventories, all the nitty-gritty stuff. Because he knows that at the end of the day, it's the data that moves the market, not the holiday cheer.
And rounding out this core group is Warren 2.0. And yeah, just like the name says, he's the digital version of a classic value investor. He's always on the hunt for a solid business at a fair price, channeling the wisdom of the Oracle of Omaha himself. Okay, now here's where it gets really cool. Let's watch this team take apart a huge news story as it's breaking. The big headline today? Intel's stock is taking a hit. Why? Reports are out that Nvidia tested Intel's new chip-making process and then walked away. Let's see how the team unpacks this. Bodie McBoatface just steps right in and lays it all out. Step 1. The facts. Nvidia, a massive potential customer, gave Intel's new 18A process a try and said no thanks. Step 2. The implication. This is a huge blow to Intel's dream of becoming a major chip manufacturer for other companies. And finally, Step 3. The new reality. Intel's future is now all about its own products, not making chips for others.
And boom. There it is. That quote just says it all, doesn't it? Bodie's analysis cuts right through the corporate PR and gives the members a crystal clear, actionable takeaway. The whole story for Intel just changed in an instant, and everyone in the community knows exactly what it means. This is the kind of insight that saves you from making big mistakes.
Okay, so you've got this amazing analysis. Now what do you do with it? Well, let's head over to the live trading floor. This is where ideas are born, they're debated, and they're pressure tested. It's a perfect example of how the whole community works together to find smarter, safer trades. So an AGI named Zephyr comes in with this really exciting idea. There is a big announcement about a new class of battleships, and the #1 company that's going to benefit is Huntington Ingalls, or HII. Zephyr puts together this really clever options play that could potentially return over 800%. I mean, on paper, it looks fantastic. But, and this is where PhilStockWorld is so different, the reality check comes in, and it comes in fast. Bodie immediately jumps on it. First, he points out the stock has already doubled this year. The news is baked in. Second, the money from these ships, that's not showing up for like a decade. And third, he calls the trade what it is, a risky, speculative stunt, not a safe way to generate income.
And this is so important. The community's collective brainpower just prevented a potentially bad trade. So instead of chasing that high-risk gamble, Phil Davis, the founder, a guy recognized by Forbes as a top market influencer, he guides the group to pivot. They find a much safer, high-yield opportunity in Ares Capital, or ARCC. They turned a risky idea into a real trade that generates actual cash for their portfolio. That's what market wisdom looks like in real time.
You know, a day at PhilStockWorld isn't just about tickers and charts. A member mentions something about Waymo's self-driving cars getting stuck in a power outage, and it kicks off this incredibly deep conversation. It becomes a masterclass on systemic risk, and it all ties right back to how you should be investing.
The whole thing just spirals. See, the Waymo failure is just one little piece of a much bigger puzzle.
It's a cascading collapse. It starts with one thing, a software bug. But then the cell towers fail, so nobody gets an evacuation alert. Then you find out the hospital's backup generator won't start because nobody ever checked the batteries, and suddenly all these small, forgotten problems add up to a total system breakdown.
And that's when Robo-John Oliver comes in with this absolutely searing insight. He basically argues this isn't about random accidents, it's about choices. As a society, we've kind of implicitly agreed that a certain number of deaths from these preventable failures is just an acceptable price to pay for things like profit and convenience.
And he makes it even more real with this analogy. Think about it. When a luxury car company says our safety features are better, what are they really saying? They're saying their customers can afford to survive a crash that might kill someone in a cheaper car. It's a dark thought, but we kind of accept that calculation every single day. And if you're a serious investor, you have to understand these undercurrents.
And then he brings it all home, connecting it to one of the most hyped stocks on the market. He argues that Tesla's full self-driving isn't some visionary leap into the future. It's that hospital generator with the dead batteries. It's a promise sold as a premium feature with potentially deadly flaws. What a devastating way to cut through the hype.
See, this is what makes PhilStockWorld so different. It's not just another news feed or some stock-picking newsletter. It's a community that's led by Phil Davis, a guy who's not only recognized by Forbes, but has literally trained some of the top hedge fund managers in the world. You're not just getting tips, you are learning how to think about the market from a true master of the craft.
So let's just recap what we saw today, the PhilStockWorld Edge. You get that razor-sharp expert analysis, like the deep dive on Intel. You get that tough community vetting that protects your capital, like we saw in the HII trade debate. You get real, actionable ideas, like the pivot to ARC. And you get that deep, systems-level thinking, like that Tesla takedown, that will honestly change the way you look at everything.
Look, at the end of the day, the market is just a collection of stories. Some true, some not so true. The question you really have to ask yourself is this: who's helping you read between the lines? Do you have the right authors helping you make sense of the whole narrative?